Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the SD.RB podcast. Today Patrick Crowley is going to be sharing with us some of his experiences with the ActsAsTaggable plugin.
All right, so what's up? All right, Patrick Crowley. I think I've met most of you guys that are here. I'm a web designer, developer. Right now I'm working on a project. All right, right now I'm working on a project that uses the ActsAsTaggable plugin. So I'm going to kind of do a basic how to do ActsAsTaggable. For some of you guys, it's probably going to be remedial. You've probably already been there. I'm actually working on a blog post where I talk about some modifications I've made to the plugin because it actually doesn't do some of the things you really want it to do. But I'm not going to cover that tonight. So sort of high level, ActsAsTaggable. A great little thing to drop in to get tags, on whatever project you're working on. Problem is, though, there are two versions of ActsAsTaggable, and it's not very clear which is which. It's actually, there's a gem called ActsAsTaggable, and there's a plugin called ActsAsTaggable. The gem has been around longer. The plugin actually was written by DHH. So I basically, I evaluated both of them for the project that I'm working on. I ultimately wound up choosing the plugin, but let's look at the gem first. Let's see. The gem is pretty mature. It's been out for a while. I think it was designed to work with Rails 1.0. So if you've got like a pretty old install of Rails, it'll work better for you. It's got better documentation. There are more modifications, sort of blog posts written about the gem. So if you want to do things like tag clouds or more advanced tagging behavior, there's sort of more documentation for that in the Rails user community relative to the plugin. But the one sort of downside to it is it's not quite as dry as it could be. Let's say you've got a number of models that you want to implement tagging support for. You're going to need to create an extra table for each model that you wish to tag. So if you have books, you're going to have books underscore tags. You have movies, movie underscore tags. And personally, that gets kind of messy. So let's look at the plugin. Again, it's written by DHH. I wouldn't necessarily make the same choice again. I think it's kind of cool. It does use polymorphic association. So you wind up actually just having a tags table and then a taggings table that holds all your tags for your individual models. So there's just a attribute for each tagging that references which model you tagged. But there's definitely a lot less documentation for this, and there are less sort of modifications that people have written that are out there. Which is better? I think it kind of depends on what your needs are. In my case, I kind of lean towards the plugin version, so that's what I did. So I'm going to kind of show you what that's like. I've got sort of a basic model that I built. It's very, very simple. And basically I've got a movie model. So the site's about movies, I guess. This is not really what I'm working on, but it's my little example. So I've got 5 movies here. I can click on any of these. Right now I don't really have any other information. I just have the title of the movie, the name. But if I want to edit that, I can change the title to a bad movie. Right? So right now that's what I've got. So let's say I want to add tags to movies. It makes sense. Certainly that's a good feature to add. So let me try to do that. So in advance, I will apologize because I really haven't done a live coding in front of an audience thing before. So, but I did bring a cheat sheet, like a finished project, so I know this works, and let's see what happens. So first thing we want to do here is we want to Google for ActsAsTaggable plugin, and there's a pretty good wiki page on the Rails site for that. So we're going to pull up here. Is the text all right for everybody? All right, so coming down here, let's see. This is actually written around the time that kind of pre-Rails 1.1, 1.2, kind of where we are today. So you can ignore the instructions to freeze Rails unless you happen to be on a really old version. So first step here is we want to install the plugin. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'm already in my project directory, so I can just paste in script plugin install ActsAsTaggable. So I should go and do that. Okay, so that worked. So we go back to the instructions here, and we need to generate a migration to update our database schema to support tags. So we'll go ahead and do that. So script generate migration add tag support. Alrighty. So I will go back to TextMate here and check out that migration. And the blog post has the migration for us. It's pretty simple. All right, so save this migration. Let's go ahead and do break migrate. All right, so we've added a tags table and we've added a taggings table. And I will pop over into my least favorite tool in the world, PHP MyAdmin. All right, so let's just look at tags. Tags is pretty simple. You've got an ID, you've got a name, and in the taggings table, a little more complicated, you've got a tag ID, which relates back to the tags table, a taggable ID, and then the taggable type. And that winds up being where your model name goes. So in this case, we're going to wind up with a taggable type of movie. But if I had some other objects, I'd have a different taggable type. Okay, so done the migration. Actually, yeah. Okay, so we've already got a model here. So all I need to do is add ActsAsTaggable to my model for these instructions. So I go to the movie model here and just, yeah, sure. How do I do that actually? Is it per the entire window? I think I don't have to. Yeah, okay. How's that? Is it? All right. So add ActsAsTaggable to your model class. So we've done that. This will give us some basic properties we can use to play around with tags. You can see them here in this sample code. Tag width, some set of string, some string. Tag list returns the set of tags for a model. And there's also a find tag width method that you get. So let's see here. So let's start by go ahead and updating our edit page, or edit method, to support editing tags. Because we need to add some tags before we can display them, before we can generate something like a tag cloud. So this is a case where I'm going to cheat a little bit. Tag cloud is essentially, let's say if you go to Flickr and you want to see the top 100 or 200 most frequently used tags. What they do is they display that. If I can show you. So here are some tag clouds. That's kind of a giant one. So basically you've got a list of tags, and depending on the frequency of the tag, you scale the size of the tag type. So something like Japan here is used more than something like color. Sure. Okay, so yeah, back to my cheating. I need to update the edit layout in my views. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So here we are. I'm pasting this in. What I've got here is a text field for tag list, and it's going to go ahead and collect the tags for my movie and put them together, space separated into this text field. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to need to update my controller here to pull in the tags. So I'll cheat a little bit here. I think I might not even need to do that. So let's try and go. Let's go to okay, so this is a common problem if you've installed a plugin. You need to reboot your server. I always forget to do that. Okay, so the server's rebooted. Plugin should be loaded. And reload this page here. And let's go and look at the edit link here. Now we've got a field for tags. Let's see if I can add some tags, see if that works. So we've got Batman Forever. So we'll say Batman Bat Movie. What else? I think that's the one with George Clooney. Say again? Oh, yeah. Governator. All right, so clearly we're not displaying the tags yet on our show layout, so I'm going to go and do that. So we need to pull the tags in. Okay, so to pull the tags in, oops. This is what we do. Basically, the plugin has added a method for our movie instance, so we can pull in the tag list for a specific movie, and then save that as tags. So now let's go back and reload this page. Okay, so all right, I actually used kind of a helper method that I pulled off of the Rails wiki to not just display my tags. Actually, we'll start with this. If I just display my tags like this, in case it didn't work. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Update action would be useful. Yeah, I can check that. That's true. Okay, so that worked. Right now, it's just displaying the tags as a big jumble, which is not particularly useful. So one thing we want to do here is I put together kind of a helper that will make that easier, called tag links. So what this does is it collects the tags for movie and then links to the specific movie name and then points us back to the actual movie. So I've added the helper. I need to update the show layout to include that. So now we're dropping in the tags into our tag links helper. And now we've got links for our tags here. Let's see what happens if we click one. Right now it goes to a action that's not set up yet, which will be the tags action. So why don't we go ahead and do that. First I'm going to make a slight change with the tags here above the edit link for this page, just so they display with the actual item. Alright, so let's set up a tag action in the movie controller. Tags, rather. Okay, so I've made that action here. I'm going to go ahead and create a layout for it. We'll just say tags here, so we know it's loading. Okay, so we got something here. It's not actually showing us any movies that match this tag yet, but I think I want to step back first and try to go ahead and add a tag cloud. Actually, we're going to need to tag more of our movies before we can have a functional tag cloud. So let me go and add tags for all the other movies. You guys can see that. Good point. Alright, so we've tagged the matrix. We'll tag Talladega Nights. The plugin's pretty good. It does support, 2-word tags using a double quote delimiter. So we can do Will Ferrell. We can do Ricky Bobby. We can do NASCAR. It'll save those for us. So let's do Superman. That's a comic book. Say Lois Lane. And then the director, Bryan Singer. So one more movie, Science of Sleep. That one just came out. Okay, so we've tagged all the movies we've got right now. So now might be a good time to do a tag cloud. To give you a sense of some of the confusion between having the same different gem and plugin with the same name, people are always getting confused. And I think people rightly have said that BHH kind of got a pass on that when he came out with this plugin. It was named exactly the same thing as a gem. So one example here is in the documentation for the plugin, there was a link here for doing a tag cloud. That's great, but it's actually for the gem, not the plugin. But I was able to find one that actually works. So that's over here. Alright, so for this to work, we're going to need to kind of modify the plugin slightly. You guys can see that. I'm going to take this method here and add it to the lib/tag.rb file in the plugin itself. So we'll truck down there. Alright, so this is actually the tag model. It's part of the ActsAsTaggable plugin. So we just drop that in there, save it. We're going to go reboot the server here. Okay, so server rebooted. He's got a application helper that will generate our tag cloud for us. So I'm going to drop that in. And I think the last thing here, well, first we've got a little call we can make for our controller. So if we go back to the movies controller to the tags method, we drop that in there. So that'll just give us a bunch of tags. Oh, did it? Cool. Oops. Okay, so we've added that. Let's see what happens if we try to reload that page. Actually, I'll go to the tags page. Alright, so not working just yet. for one, we need to add styles for each of the different text sizes for our various levels of tags. Let's drop that in there. Never done. Miscopied there. Try that again. Alright, I'm going to bump these up a little bit just so they're a little more obvious. So for some reason we're not actually showing the tags just yet. I thought I did well. Yeah, I think you're right. Thanks. So we want to loop through our tags instance. So let's see here. Let's try this first, see if this works. Actually, he gave us what do you want? Right, so missed the step. This is what we want to put in our view. Okay, so now if we reload, we've got a tag cloud there. Kind of nice. Right now, though, it looks like everything is basically the same frequency. Probably because we've only I'm gonna tag some other movie sci-fi just so we can make that one bigger. Yeah, I see that. I'm not sure if that is. It's probably just some mistake I made, but it could be a mistake in the plugin. Alright, so we've done that. Alright, so sci-fi is now bigger because we're using it more than some of the other tags. So that's pretty good. If you notice, I'm actually clicking on tags, and first of all, we're going to movies /tag/ whatever the tag is. So we want to update the code here to fix that. So basically, our action is not correct. This is more about your preference for how you want to structure your tag URLs. Delicious, for instance, uses /tag/some_tag, while Flickr and I think most sites that use tagging now tend to use tags plural as their initial directory. So we'll go with that. So if I reload my tag cloud here and I click on one of these, it's actually got the correct URL, but I don't really have any method yet to display individual movies that have been tagged. So we want to go ahead and do that. So the way we're going to do that, cheat here. We're going to look for a tag parameter. If we don't see it, then we're going to just render the tag cloud like normal. So that way if our URL contains some kind of tag parameter, we'll try to render that tag with any movies that match it. And we're also going to need to update our view to support that same duality. Okay, so we're going to start with, we really want to change the way this page works in several ways. We want to change the headline. We want to change the contents of the page. So we're just going to put, certainly there are better ways to do this, but just for this demo, I'm just going to wrap, the entire tag cloud page into one else statement, and then we'll put the tag specific page right here. So let's start with that. Tags, and the tag name should be here in front of them. And we're going to put in some code to display movies for this tag. So here's our code for that. We're just going to loop over the movies here, and then just link to the movie, back to the movie. So let's reload here. See if that works. Okay, that doesn't work yet. Part of the reason that needs to work, or doesn't work yet, is we need to update our routes to support what we're doing. So I've actually got two different routes that I want to set up here. Routes are in the config folder in your Rails app if you haven't played around with them before. In this case, what we're going to do is we're going to set an action here for the basic view. So if you've got movies/tags and you've got no tag there, we want to direct to movies and tags. And then same thing, but we want to check for the parameter here, the tag parameter, and then go there. So I'm going to save that. And now let's reload the page and see what happens. Okay, well, it kind of worked there. We actually got the two movies that we've tagged sci-fi, Superman and The Matrix. I will update the view for the single tag here. So I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm actually, I've made a movie back to, or a link back to movies. It's going to be kind of almost like a breadcrumb as a headline. So I've got a link back to movies, then a link back to tags, and then the actual specific name of the tag on this page. So if we reload, we now kind of see where we are in the hierarchy of the site. I can go to tags here, I can click on the tag. I get the movies that match it, and I can jump back to the tags page or jump back to the movies page. I'll do the same sort of cheat here on, I'll make the tags link clickable once we're there, or actually add movies to tags. Okay, so we can kind of browse around the tags like that, which is pretty cool. Okay, I think that's actually what I wanted to show you guys. Just to talk a little bit more about the way that this plugin works. I'm going to dig up the code a little bit here. Okay. So some of the stuff that I've rewritten, I haven't released yet, but I'm kind of in the process of documenting it, just making sure that it works. For one, with the plugin paginating over your tags, you don't get that out of the box, and it's not very well documented. So that's something that I've kind of put together. So what that would mean is if you're looking at, say, 20 movies that have been tagged Batman, you want to be able to have pages of those, kind of browse across them. The plugin doesn't support that natively. So I've updated the find tagged with method here to support that. And another thing to really point out that I've fixed also is that when you're editing tags, let's say we go and edit tags for Batman Forever, DHH was kind of slobby when he wrote this, and he's got other stuff to worry about, obviously, so that's cool. But you can see here, I'm not actually going to update the tags. Like, these are the same tags I've had before. But when I hit update, if you look at the code here, the plugin is actually destroying all the tags you already have, and then taking the tags you just submitted and resetting all of them, regardless of whether or not you have new tags or not. So the downside of that is if you're trying to create a site that has tagging behavior similar to Delicious or Flickr, where as new content is tagged, it appears at the top of a page for tags. So let's say that people start tagging more bad movies. You want to be able to come back to this page and see the most recently tagged bad movie. But because the plugin is always deleting the tags every time they're updated, if I tag Batman Forever a bad movie, and we add, let's say 50 movies here, and I decide to change my tags for Batman Forever, it's going to pop back up at the top because the tags have all been deleted and it's been re-tagged that movie. So it's going to shoot to the top of the list, which doesn't work. So I want to kind of rewriting that and sort of release that soon. Yeah, so that's basically it. Any questions or anything?
That concludes this episode of the SD.RB podcast. See you next time.